We are here, ready to talk Celtics. Later talking C's today because Bobby and I were at practice this morning. But hopefully y'all are here with us, ready to talk about the Celtics. Bobby, how you doing? I saw
Doing
you 2 hours ago,
fantastic
but
here.
how you doing?
Impressive showing from the Celtics yesterday. So we'll dive into all the latest developments because there's bigger takeaways that are worth exploring than just what happened against Phoenix.
Yeah. I mean, definitely a good win. Going into it, I think I really felt like it would be a dogfight. Like Phoenix had a chip on their shoulder. Even to start the game, you saw they came out playing really hard. They looked focused early in the game, and the Celtics just put it together, said that's enough of that, and blew them out. Second time in a week against a team that's supposedly pretty good.
Yeah, big time. Big
Got the
wins
gang
for the
trickling in
Celtics
now.
following their tough losses to Cleveland and Denver. They've bounced back in a big way. Credit to them. Impressive performances despite the opponent, or regardless of the opponent, I should say, which is how they played all season. But first thing, title of the video, thumbnail of the video, Tillman v. Kornet. So as much as the Celtics have been playing well and the starting lineup's amazing, everyone likes to talk about the backup bigs. So that's what we're going to do. Jared Weiss wrote a great article about it for The Athletic, talking about the pros and cons of Kornet in the playoffs versus Tillman in the playoffs. Who could get more minutes? Why one of them should play over the other? Sam and I talked about it on our pod as well, but we can go a little bit more in depth here. Bobby, what are you looking at when you explore potential playoff minutes for those guys?
I think it starts with what happens on the defensive end and what's the matchup. There are concerns with Luke Kornet because he's a drop coverage big. You know, there are ways around that if you want to blitz, for example, but for the most part, he's going to be stepping back. And so that challenges the Celtics' ability to protect the perimeter. You know, it's more pressure on the guard. So now it's a question, who's he out there with? Because I don't think Luke Kornet and Peyton Pritchard is a great combination to prevent teams from getting clean looks from three. You know, Pritchard is a very scrappy on-ball defender. I like him, but much better when he's in front of you versus from behind. How many shots from behind has he swatted in his career? It's a small sample, right? So to me, if Luke Kornet's out there, then Jrue Holiday and or Derek White make a lot of sense, and that can work. Xavier Tillman, he's pretty complete defensively. I mean, you see him switch and hold his own against some of the more impactful perimeter scorers in the game, including Steph Curry. And we can downplay that game, and Curry had an injury on top of it. But overall, we've seen it from Xavier Tillman. So I think as he gets up to speed and as the Celtics start to try and sharpen their double big lineups in particular, the Tillman-Horford pairing is really producing well without compromising floor spacing offensively.
Yeah, and the floor spacing seems to be a big layer to this, right? I like Kornet. Jack likes Kornet. Bobby likes Kornet. We all like him. He's fine. He's done a good job this year. He's held his own. He's given the Celtics anything they could have asked from him. From a mile-high view, he is last of the top 9 in net plus minus. So of all the guys above him, he is at 108 net on the season. Pritchard is the next lowest at 292. So there's a big difference there. Minutes could have something to do with that he's playing less minutes, less time for point differential. But to the point of maybe play Tillman a bit more, it does allow you to have a more flexible defense, more flexible offense. And the switchability is so dangerous for how great the Celtics can be on defense, because you've seen them in the past do that switch all defense, give teams headaches, and Tillman being picked up for absolutely nothing at the trade deadline could be the last cog to that machine getting back up and running, because he's shown he could do it. It's so funny, he didn't even play in the game in Phoenix on Saturday. He eats the bulk of the minutes yesterday after Booker comes back. We saw some pick and switch action from Phoenix trying to get Durant mismatches and things like that. And Tillman ate up a ton of minutes at the backup big guy spot yesterday. He shot the ball well. We have talked about it ad nauseum where he has a good form. It's a fluid motion. Rotation on the shot is good. He doesn't look awkward shooting threes at all. This week, he's made 3 from the perimeter. One of them, the foot was on the line, but he's looked very comfortable shooting the basketball. And it's something that in the playoffs, the Celtics are going to benefit from at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, I said it when the Celtics traded for him. I figured Kornet would get the bulk of the backup minutes until Tillman got comfortable within the system. I think Tillman has the higher ceiling. I think he is the better player overall. But the Celtics run on such a comfort level basis, in the sense that they like their guys to know how they play, how they run things on both ends of the court. Hello, Jazz. Before they get real rotational minutes, and Kornet knows the system better than anybody. And Joe Mazzulla said that over and over again. However, and I brought up this clip on How About Them Celtics, the pod that's dropping Sunday. It feels like Tillman is starting to do a lot of the little things that Kornet has been able to do. I was watching this play from the Suns game. Jaylen Brown got an and one against Nurkic, but it happens because of Tillman's ability to run the seal that Kornet has been really good at. Tillman gets the ball on the perimeter after Nurkic sucks in, runs a dribble handoff with Jaylen Brown, screens. Jaylen Brown gets the defender on his back. Then Tillman shuts off Nurkic just long enough so Brown can get a bucket in the paint. Just this a little bump, this little thing, not getting a foul call there, but bumping into Nurkic so he can't defend Brown right away. That got Brown the end one, and that was a credit to Tillman for running that play. That's what Luke Kornet does a lot. So if Tillman can start to do those things, and he's a big body guy and he sets good screens, if he can start to do those things, I don't see a reason why he wouldn't be getting a bulk of the minutes, unless it's like you really want like height. Like that's the only thing that Luke Kornet has that I don't think Tillman is capable of, obviously, because he's not going to grow 10 inches. So I think if Tillman can start to do those things more frequently, the screening and stuff like that, then I think he's probably my pick for playoff minutes.
Yeah, you look at that play right there that you just pulled up. That was like a Gortat screen on steroids. I mean, he just pinballed around multiple Suns defenders, clearing out space for Jaylen. And I would say where I give Luke Kornet an edge is his impact on the offensive glass. But Tillman can space the floor further and is able to get there to the rim. So he can also contribute in that regard. And I think the Celtics are okay with the trade-off of, okay, Luke Kornet's better at extending possessions and getting tip-ins, but Tillman brings more to the table. And so it's still advantage Xavier. And I think what we're really starting to see, especially with these double big lineups, is that he's starting to slingshot his way past Kornet on the depth chart.
It'll be interesting to see how that all kind of pans out in the coming weeks, because you do have a ton of matchups against bottom of the barrel teams. You get Washington, Pistons twice next week. You have the big Milwaukee game on Wednesday, which can't wait, to be honest with you. It's the first time that we're going to be getting up for a game since the Denver game. So it'll definitely be a good matchup. And I'm excited to see what they decide to do in that situation, because it is a meaningful game. Milwaukee does have size. Brook Lopez is a massive tree down there, and he's a pain in the ass to deal with. But can Tillman step in, be a perimeter defender, be a switchable guy on Giannis? Can he slow Giannis down? These are all things we get to look for next week. And if he doesn't play, then you can look into, okay, well, why is Kornet getting these minutes? Do they trust him quarterbacking the back line on defense? Because he does seem to have a good knack for communicating and keeping everybody in place, at least a little bit. So that's a big measuring stick game as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how it plays out. The next thing, Bobby, you want us to talk about, hello to the chat. Hello, Evan. Hello, Michael. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Is Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They've been complimenting each other with an I in terms of giving each other praise, and with an E in terms of on the basketball court. So their growth as offensive hubs is something I wrote about after the Suns game last night, and their ability to lead this team together has been huge for the Celtics this season, despite the fact that there was this weird narrative of they're not friends, even though that's not at all what Joe Mazzulla meant with that quote. But yeah, Bobby, general thoughts on just that progression this season.
Yeah, first off, just to address that last bit. I mean, they've known each other since they were in high school. Like they're friends. Like that's a ridiculous narrative. It doesn't mean they're going out every weekend, but I think people look to play up certain storylines, and that one is barking up the wrong tree. When it comes to, like, I've written all season about Jaylen's growth, and then recently what really caught my attention was coming out of the All-Star break before the Bulls game. So first one back, and Joe Mazzulla said that he's really made it a point of emphasis this season to accentuate the differences between Jaylen and Jason. And so then I asked him about that recently, and he just pointed to how, look, they're different people. They lead differently. They play differently. And I think it plays into why they complement each other this season better than ever. From Jalen typically being the one that sets the tone and comes out firing, and then Jason eases his way into the game, and you see more of him in the fourth quarter, at least from a scoring standpoint, and things of that nature. From Jalen, the energy that he plays with defensively, when you put him on a Steph Curry of the world or a Devin Booker or any of these elite perimeter scorers, I think the entire team feeds off that it plays into a transition attack that he's at the heart of. And so what you're seeing is that there is a better use of both having them on the court together and the gap combination, maximizing it, but also I don't think it's an accident or a coincidence or just a product of having another year together that this season it's easier to spot the differences in style of play between Jalen and Jason.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of that over the last 2 weeks since the All-Star break, since Jalen has taken a step up seemingly. His whole thing has been putting his shoulder through guys, getting baby hook shots off the glass, not off the glass, just using his strength to his advantage. We've seen him put on the muscle over the years, and we're finally seeing it get put to use consistently. They are opening the doors for Jalen to take smaller players in the post, much like we saw them do with Marcus Smart when he was here. They took advantage of the smaller guards on him. We saw him go through Bradley Beal a ton on Saturday. Saw a little bit of it yesterday. It wasn't as present because Jalen was just doing crazy stuff all over. He was making threes, step back threes. He didn't care. But to Tatum's credit, he has helped this all happen, come into fruition. He has been a conduit for Jalen's spark because he's willing to take a backseat if he has to, or even change his game in a way that's going to allow Jalen to have more of a runway to take off before the playoffs start. And, he has done a good job of also being there when Jalen doesn't have it or not even playing. In the Utah game, Tatum said, hey, look, everybody, Sam, you big dumb idiot, I can still play basketball. I can still put up 38 points without you even noticing. And he was really, really good in the first half and really the full game against Phoenix on Thursday because he was efficient. He picked his spots. And we're seeing a lot less ball domination from him as Jalen seems to take on a little bit more of that, which in the playoffs, do you really want Jalen to be the one making all the decisions? Probably not. But it definitely doesn't hurt to have him have the window to just go through guys and show how strong he is.
Mm-hmm. I think, and I was asking Joe Mazzulla about this after the game against the Suns. I think just the progression for both of them in reading the game is so clear. And obviously you don't necessarily need them to have the ball in their hands all the time because you have all these great players. You have Jrue, you have Derek, you have KP. But at the end of the day, the Celtics still only go as far as Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown take them. Like that is how it's going to be. Those are the two best players. That's how it works. And when I was writing my article last night, I threw in these two clips. These clips are from 2 years ago. The year they went to the finals, and just the difference in play. So I posted this play from Tatum, and at first glance, you're like, okay, this is the simplest play you could possibly imagine. You just saw a double and you made a pass. Duh, like that's easy. 2 years ago, the Mavericks double him from the same spot, and he jumps on 2 feet and throws it from the air. His feet aren't grounded, right? That's progression. Like as easy a pass as this made, he very clearly wasn't as comfortable working at a double team 2 years ago. Jaylen Brown, right here, gets the ball on the wing. He's just running, pump fakes, easy pass out to the perimeter. Horford 3. 2 years ago, it's not the exact same, but Jaylen Brown, top of the key, runs a double screen. Instead of making an easy pass, he jumps off 2 feet, which forces him to make a read that's not there, and he gets picked off. Like it's just the small things, and you don't need to make the complicated play every time. And I think learning that has benefited Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown more than anything else.
Yeah, and when it comes to Jalen, I think something that's really impressive and speaks to his ability to think further down the road is that we're talking right now about his bully ball. At one point, the conversation was the leap he's made in terms of becoming a mid-range maestro and how if there's less dribbling involved, then you're less likely to commit a turnover. Now you don't have to get all the way to the basket, and it unlocks so much stuff for him in particular, but also the Celtics offense as a collective. Now what we're seeing with this added muscle and his ability to just go through people's chest and get to the rim is basically his way of letting you know he doesn't want to settle for just threes, mid-range, in transition, that he now has a hammer that he can take out in a half-court possession to get to the rim, and that's going to behoove him and the Celtics. I mean, what that does for free throw attempts, points in the paint, offsetting when they aren't shooting well from beyond the arc is tremendously valuable. It helps keep him in rhythm. If you score, it's typically easier to defend because you get to set up. So to me, that ability from a cognitive standpoint, and then also just being able to quickly put on muscle. I mean, I think from the start of the season, if you look at a picture of Jaylen Brown to where he's at now, man's been in the weight room. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he definitely has. And to your point, Bobby, it's such a reliable, controlled way for Jaylen to play offense. There was so much concern coming into the season after he signs the big contract. Everyone's like, does he really deserve this money? Even up until weeks ago, people were like, does he deserve this? Instead, he's turned it up. He's found a extremely efficient, controlled, reliable way to put the ball in the basket on top of all of the cool, super cool bag stuff that he can get into in the mid-range or from three, because we saw the threes yesterday. He was just having fun with Phoenix. But he has been on another level. He looks like a completely different player, and he looks like somebody you can rely on to get you key buckets in the postseason. That doesn't necessarily mean all at the end of the game, because I don't know if going through him at the end of the game is the best thing. We don't know yet. It's a bag of worms, or can of worms, whatever it is. But he can still be a guy to go down, get you a reliable bucket when you need it on the wrong end of a run, which is just as important as being there at the end of a game. We've seen the Celtics get so much better at this since the All-Star break, and I think he has to have something to do with it.
Yeah, the Jays have been awesome. Their ability to read the game, their ability to be aggressive, play off each other, and read the room has been just on another level this year. Next thing, Sam, you mentioned this. You threw it in our group chat when we were throwing around what we wanted to talk to you today. Officiating. We talked about this when we recorded earlier. You've seen it in the Celtics games. A lot fewer fouls, a lot fewer free throws. And I know you're in on it. I know you're in on those.
All the way in. I almost brought it up when we were talking about Jaylen being physical, because it plays into this new thing where all of a sudden the officials just don't call ticky-tack stuff anymore. Since the All-Star break, I referenced on Sunday's recording, which you'll see then, Tom Haberstroh tweets about like foul calls are down, defensive 3 seconds are down, technicals are down, like all these different like soft, they could blow the whistle. It's all being kind of filtered out here before the playoffs start. And I think that's really something to be excited about just as a basketball fan. Never mind from a Celtics perspective, where I feel like it's going to benefit them because of how Jaylen's playing, because of how Jrue Holiday is a strong guard, because of how Derek White can be able to use his hands a bit more on some of these bigger guys that are trying to go right through him. There's going to be so many advantages that they get to play into, and some that they're going to have to deal with, other guys being physical with Porzingis and etc. But overall, it's going to stop disrupting games. You're not going to see a lull, stoppage, boring reviews, whatever you hate about basketball. It's going away ever so slightly, and it's going to be a ton of fun to watch. And Jaylen being super physical is just another way that they have a leg up, because you're not going to have to worry about like soft whistles. No soft offensive fouls being called on Jaylen. Since he started being aggressive, I can't remember off the top of my head him being whistled for a charge. It just isn't happening right now. And they're getting rid of the foul baiting. Apparently, Adam Silver has like put out the call like, hey, we don't want any more of this as we lead into the playoffs. This is our big product. This is our showcases when all the eyes are on us. We don't want people to see this like watered down version of the game.
Yeah, first off, shout out to Tom Haberstroh. He does great work, and I'm a big fan of his Substack, tomthefinder.com. So odds are, if you're a basketball fan and you're on Twitter, you've seen some of his studies, and he dives into matters like this that at least I find to be particularly interesting. So when he put out this one, it just kind of reinforced what the eye test is telling you as you watch not just the Celtics, but around the NBA since the All-Star break, and especially in March, that fouls are down and they're letting the defense get away with more. So I asked Joe Mazzulla yesterday about those findings and how that challenges the Celtics' ability to be the smarter team, to stay a step ahead and combat an opponent's attempt to muck the game up. And so I have here, Joe's answer was, quote, adapt your mentality and adapt your execution. And so I think we've had some tests this year where we've been out physical And then we've risen to the occasion of physicality. And I think those moments of opponents trying to muck up the game helps us get better. And we just have to look at it from that perspective. And the team that I have in mind when you see that fouls are down and you're letting defenses get away with more is right now, if the playoffs started, I know there's the play-in tournament, but the 1 seed would be the Celtics and the 8 would be the Miami Heat. And so that is exactly who I think of, who probably loves this development more than any other team in the league. And so it's going to be very interesting to see, especially if that's a test the Celtics run into for the 3rd straight year. How do you handle Miami being allowed to muck the game up and get more physical and grab and get away with things when you really have to fight for your space? And so we'll see how the Celtics respond, because one of the best ways to challenge and slow them down in the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown era, including this season, is by mucking the game up. So we'll see what happens come playoff time.
Yeah, I think you both make great points. I think, like Sam said, it benefits the Celtics because they have guys who get really physical on defense. So it helps them to be able to, do that. I mean, we saw Jrue Holiday last night as we're recording this against the Suns just absolutely kill the Suns with his physicality. Bradley Beal looked like lost against him on that end. And so I think by the time the playoffs come around and refs let players get away with even more, you're going to see this compounded into very physical games, which for the most part, I think benefits the Celtics. I think it benefits other teams too. I think Giannis is probably going to benefit from this by being able to throw his elbows around, do whatever he wants. I think the Heat, who are a very physical team, are going to get, be good with this sort of play style. I think the Knicks, another very physical team. But I think it's good for the Celtics. Maybe not Porzingis, but he gets beat around a little bit. But I think it'll benefit the Celtics as a whole. Bobby, I feel like I'm missing something. What else? Is there something else? What else do we want to talk about today? I'm blanking. I just had the text open.
So I think we hit on what we cooked up in the group chat. But because you mentioned Jrue Holiday, his defense against Bradley Beal, I mean, he snatched his soul last night.
Let me find the clips.
There are so many clips. Pull up any of them, and they're fun to watch. Like, there's one where Bradley Beal comes off a Royce O'Neal screen, no advantage. So then O'Neal comes back to set the pick on the other side, and Holiday goes over the pick, so there's nothing. He spins. Jrue is in front of him. He comes back, and guess how the play ends? With Jrue Holiday rotating over from the weak side for a two-handed rejection on a Drew Eubanks attempt at the rim. Like, he was just a monster defensively yesterday. This is the play. Thank you.
It cuts off before the rejection, but yeah.
This ends with... So just note, people watching, that ends with Jrue Holiday rotating from the left to the right for a two-handed block on Phoenix's center.
And this is just a prime example of, like, look, people have been trying to speculate, put it out there that Holiday may not have it on defense as much anymore. They're not saying he sucks by any means, but they're like, is he still the defender he was the last couple years in Milwaukee? Is he still as quick? And he might not be as quick, but if they're allowed to be physical like this, like you said, Bobby, Bradley Beal has nothing for him. He's in shambles. He's losing the ball, dribbling into the corner. You never want to just dribble into the corner, especially when you're out of control. And here's your block. Boom. They end up scoring here, but it was a great sequence from him, and he was completely in control of that possession. In the postseason, you're going to be allowed to do this stuff. Holiday's going to be that much more effective. I love it. I love what we've seen from him. I love what we've seen on both ends. I think he's a good leader. His sacrifice has been greater than probably anybody on the teams, where he's taking very, very few shots, and he's still making them at a high clip, and he's bringing it on the defensive end. There are plenty of times where guys are like, my mouth's not getting fed on offense, that I'm too hungry to play defense. I need more energy. And they don't play defense. They don't translate it. It doesn't matter for him. He's in. The rest of the bunch is in. They're committed to trying to win. And to the Celtics' credit, as a whole, and Joe Mazzulla's credit, we've seen a lot less palms up from this team this year. A lot less complaining about whistles. So that is another reason why the new physical set of rules, whatever this shift is in the officiating, doesn't concern me too much, because I haven't seen them crying as much, and it rules.
Yeah, and another thing, just another fun conversation to Celtics Digest point. How many Celtics players making an all-defensive team? He says he's got the stock exchange in JB. Unfortunately, I feel like JB might get snubbed. I don't think JB is going to make an all-defensive team. He deserves it. He's been phenomenal on defense this year, but there's a lot of talented defenders in the league, and I feel like the narrative and the baseline of Derek White and Jrue Holiday being the best defenders at the guard position is going to get them on a team. I think it'll be harder in an uphill battle for JB to get past that because I think there's a lot of guys who will have a sort of a baked-in spot on one of those teams. But this is a good question. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Jack, I thought you were going to bring up the preseason convo when we talked about this and the over-under and will they get to 3? I don't think they will. I think it's going to be Derek and Jrue, and that's it. And Porzingis has a case, but I don't see him getting on either. So I think it's going to be the stock exchange gets in, and that's it.
Wait till that Boston media mafia full court press goes into effect. They will be vociferously calling for Jalen to get on the all defensive team, and he's deserved it. You've even seen like the aggregation accounts start tweeting out defensive clips from Jalen. He's looked locked in. He's picking up some of the toughest assignments on the floor. He did a great job on Curry. He played Luka really tough twice now, and he's had to switch on to Durant in these Phoenix games, and he's done a solid job there too. I know Durant was super efficient in the first one, but it wasn't for a lack of effort from Jalen. I love the effort he's brought. It's nice to see him back to doing that because there was a little bit of a dip in his defensive quality the last couple seasons for whatever reason. When he came into the league, that was what everyone was billing him as. He's athletic. He can play defense. They were saying he was a younger Kawhi. And since then, he's developed more into a scorer. And now you're finally seeing the best of both worlds with him. So I've loved what I've seen from Jalen this year. He looks locked in, and I'm excited to see how it translates going forward.
Yeah, Celtics defense in general has been phenomenal this year. Jrue has been at the center of it. He's been given the go ahead to be the quarterback on defense for the Celtics. Derek White's been just as good. You see it every night. Celtics are just saying, I get what you're saying. Suggs, McDaniels, Herb, all gonna be locks. You got to imagine Wemby and Rudy Gobert also going to make those teams pretty clearly. That only leaves so many spots, so it's going to be tough for Jalen to get on. I think he deserves it, but I doubt the Celtics will get 3. And then you'll get some of these other teams, like if you look at it, like the best defense in the league, like Jared Allen has a case. The Cavs defense has been amazing this year. I think the Magic, Jalen Suggs, like you said, will probably get it. Chet Holmgren has a case. He's been awesome. The Knicks deserve to have some credit for some guys. Even the Rockets, like there's a lot of players. Bam Adebayo, I mean, he's going to be on an all-defensive team every year, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Bobby, is it trivia time, or do we got some more cooking?
It's trivia time. I will just throw out quickly, and you can get set up while I do this. Shout out to your boy Derek White yesterday, Jack, because he gets Nurkic in the post one-on-one. People are coming to help, but before they do, no need. Swats him in the post at the basket. Pretty impressive from a first-team all-defensive member this season in Derek White.
I remember that play vividly. I was pumped. I was like, oh, no, he's going to go right through Derek White because, like, the one weakness I would say Derek White has on the defensive end is he's not able to always switch onto the bigger players. He's not as strong, but he showed a great just sense of desire to block the shot, locked in, got it done, got the stop. Big ups to Derek White.
Yes, sir. All right. Trivia time. Turn the chats off. Let's get going with the trivia. Okay. So today we are going to be doing chats are both off. We're all good.
Chats off.
Awesome. Most threes made in a single season by a Celtic. Now, I'm not going to have you name the player and the season. I'm just going to take the highest. Like if you say like, I don't want to say any answers. If you said like,
I got you. I think we both understand what you're saying.
Let's say Shaq played 2 seasons of the Celtics. He made 1 3 and 1 and 3 threes in the other. I'd take the 3, and then nobody can get Shaq anymore. So I'm taking the highest threes by the player, and then that person is off the board. Sam, I believe, won last time. He's up 2-1 in the series. So Sam, you will get to go first here.
Tatum.
Jason Tatum. Let me get to the stat. Oh, I accidentally changed the stat muse. This is not because I'm looking it up. This is because I have to go to a different one. I was experimenting with which one I wanted to do. So don't take this long session at taking me to find it into account with, oh my God, it's wrong. Okay. Sorry. Tatum. Okay. I'm organized now. We are good. Here we go. Jason Tatum. I forgot I was experimenting. 240 is what you get from Mr. Tatum.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Bobby, to you.
Paul Pierce.
Paulie Pierce. Okay. Let's take a look here. My computer is a million tabs open, so please bear with me. Paul Pierce. Threes. To make sure I'm taking the top one. Alrighty. Mr. Pierce gets you 210.
Oh,
210 right there.
that's a shame.
Oh, back to you, Sam.
This is tough. Or one guess in.
Yeah, I know. You're already getting long pauses. Jazz is not a bad guess. And this is all time. This, by the way, this is not set in a certain date. This is just in general.
I'm gonna guess Ray Allen.
He was on the
Ray
brain.
Allen. Here we go. 199.
Wow.
There you go. Back to you, Bobby.
Isaiah Thomas.
That was there too.
Mr. Thomas. Whoa, 245. Bang.
Top guess.
Could he be returning,
Acting's
by the
down.
way?
Jack just
True.
whips his computer across the room.
Michael, that's not. No, that's not on there. That's not on the page, at least for the first page.
This is tough. I'm trying to like find the sweet spot,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I don't know where I want to go with it. I'll guess Jalen.
Jalen Brown. Took Bobby's guess. Jalen Brown. Let's see.
I think we both had in mind Jalen 3rd round pick.
166.
Yeah, I fumbled it.
We'll see.
Back to you, Bobby.
This is gonna need some filibustering.
I need to download the Jeopardy theme.
Got it taken off probably. Huh. This is a hard one. I love the Family Feud style though.
Well, of
It's
course
just,
you
I don't
like it.
I'm losing right now. I still like it.
It's a really good format. I like it too. It's just the results haven't been there for your boy.
Man.
I know.
Long thoughts.
There are certain names I could just say them because they're so obvious, but there's reasons not to guess them.
Jazz, that's not a
There's
bad guess.
health-related reasons not to guess certain names.
Not a bad guess, Jazz. That's up there. It's made threes. Yeah, you had me double checking. I'm like, wait a second. Yep, made threes in a single season, not attempted. Attempted would be fun though. Maybe I'll do attempted next. Michael, I don't think that's on this list. No, it's up there. Yeah, that's a good guess, Michael.
All right, I'm wondering if I'm gonna regret leaving a certain name on the table. But let's see how many. I hate this so much. Let's see how many Marcus Smart made in a season.
Marcus Smart. Alrighty, let's take a look. Threes in a season.
There were years he was around like 36%.
Mr. Smart is at 137.
Okay.
It could have been worse.
It's true. Could have been worse. Back to you, Sam.
I have some guesses, but I'm not entirely confident in them. That's the problem. Which is how this kind of game goes.
I feel confident that no one's gonna get this, so I'm gonna put it on the screen. No, Michael, it's not Michael Petrus.
It's not Michael
Air
Petrus.
Petrus.
Sorry to
Imagine
air that out.
back-to-back appearances for McHale.
I only had to do it last time because he mentioned it.
The Celtics' other McHale.
Oh man, I'm stuck. I'm afraid. I'm shook.
Let's see. Should have prices right on going on. Ashton, that's a good guess. Yeah, good job.
I'll guess Kyrie.
Kyrie Irving.
I don't think
See?
it's a great guess.
174.
I'm pissed. He's one of the guys I was referencing because of the injury.
Right there. Bobby, back to you.
Avery Bradley.
I
Mr.
thought about
Bradley.
Bradley.
That means you thought about someone else too.
Avery Bradley. This is obviously just with the Celtics, so it's like its highest with the Celtics. Gets you.
I would assume it's the highest for his career.
147. Back to you, Sam.
Damn, man, I have. I don't know how. This is tough. I don't like the spot I'm in. This is a big pressure situation. I'm probably up like what 30.
Plus 137 plus 147. You're
If
up.
That.
No, you're up 60 or 40.
Up 60.
Sorry. Yeah, 40.
Up 40.
Up 40.
I'm hurting.
Yeah, because in this format, one bad guess and you're just it's tough. Michael, that's not a bad guess. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Oh man.
Jazz, the answer to your question is no. Yes, but pretty far down. Relatively, I guess, kind of. Nah. Yeah.
This may be a terrible fumble guess. I'm doing one last mental check before I make it official. I'll guess Jay Crowder.
Mr. Crowder.
I think I just lost myself the game, to be honest with you. I don't feel good about it.
157.
Okay.
So that puts Sam at a final score of 936, which means Bobby needs
97, right?
Minus 739.
197.
You need 197. Bobby is once again in a place where there is one player who can win him the game. Man. One single player who could win Bobby the game.
And I think I have it.
Oh,
but
Sam's gonna be so sad.
I'm going with it.
If he gets this
Walker.
again.
What'd you say?
Is that it?
Antoine Walker.
Antoine Walker. 222.
Oh, let's go!
Okay, there is no more telling me as one guess.
Why? I swear to God, Sam, I swear to God, I was guessing him no matter what.
Okay.
Why is that? Why does that?
I think the last time it helped him click, like it clicked last time.
No. How does it give any advantage? Saying there's only one player that can have it
because it's like an outlier.
No,
is it? It's just.
I think it is.
I don't think it is.
Last time I was scrolling through names in my head for however long it took, and then finally got to Grant Williams, and I was like, "That's it."
Yeah,
it's fine.
I don't think it provides any advantage. Just saying, yeah, there's only one player left that could, like, how does that tell him any indication of who it is?
I don't know. I feel like there's the weird.
I promise you, it's not.
I don't think it does.
It's contributed 0.
Hearing Bobby say it, I feel better about it. But from like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like I feel like I'm the real Celtics, and like you're like, oh no way, like they'll blow this, right? And then it happens.
I can understand because like if I was on Sam's side, I'd probably be salty. So I can understand that.
Jazz saying you're complaining to the refs. Yeah, I know. Other guys you could have chosen. No one said Kemba. Kemba's up there at 180.
I was just concerned because of the injuries. Exactly.
Yeah. Kemba 180. Isaiah Thomas is all-time leader. So you got that.
Good guess.
Derek White this season's at 162.
I considered it.
So
I considered Hauser.
He's up there. Hauser,
I don't think he takes enough.
Isn't up there. Yeah. His most would be this season, and he's at 146, so it actually wouldn't be too bad. Eddie House 151, Dana Barros
That's
150.
I was even about to ask you about him because I almost guessed him instead of Marcus Smart.
Yeah, Rozier's 153, so he's
considered
He was
Rozier
another
too.
yeah. That is it.
For me, it was between Crowder and Rozier. So
I wasn't willing to do Bradley and Jay Crowder.
Fair. Yeah. All right.
devastated.
2-2. Series tied up. Okay. Bobby, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, we're gonna go celebrate this one. We got to turn this quickly. It's only 2-2, and the set's 2-2, but we are gonna enjoy this one.
This is 2022 Game 4.
It's gonna be a fun flight back to Oakland.
It's tough. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to Have With the Celtics. Check out Bobby's work at sa.com/NBA/Celtics, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Hey, thank you very much for watching. If you tuned in live, we do appreciate you very much. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads. We're coming at you at 5 a.m. with something every day. Talking C's is here live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Big thanks to Bobby for coming to join us every day with that because it's a ton of fun having him. You can also find the full pods Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and game recaps are here the morning after every game, whether they're embedded into a pod or they're their own video. You can find us on Spotify and Apple as well. The audio pods and game recaps are there for you. If you follow us, leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate it. You can find us via email, hbtcpod@gmail.com. It's a great way to get in touch with us. If you have your thoughts on, I guess, the Phoenix game, but we already did that. I don't know. Email us. We'll read it on the pod. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Facebook is just the name of the podcast. Our streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Bobby's Twitter is at Bobby Kravitsky. Jack's Twitter is at Jack Simone NBA. And mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.